Hey, welcome everyone. Those of you who are practicing with me live and those of you who are practicing to the recording. Such a pleasure to come together with you for some intentional mindful practice. So this is the Somatics in Yoga class, and we're actually going to start without our mats. You will need a yoga mat. You might need other props, maybe a couple blocks might be helpful. Otherwise, just your beautiful selves, your beautiful bodies, and a willingness and curiosity to move through space. So come to a seated position on the floor. Start seated and then come to lying down. Just feeling your body here in this upright position through your torso, with your legs underneath you, resting on the earth, resting on the floor, feeling gravity, and maybe allowing gravity to aid in relaxing some of what you're holding. Any muscular tension that you might be holding in your torso, your shoulders. And I'll share a quote for inspiration before we dive into our practice. And this is by John O'Donohue from his book, To Bless the Space Between Us. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. So may we use our movement practice together today to connect with this sense of adventure, that even adventure itself has risk involved. That is the very essence of what it means to be on an adventure, is that you stretch yourself to do something that maybe you didn't think you were capable of. So may we be embodied together and embrace this feeling of adventure and this embracing of maybe something that might be perceived as risk together. I'll lie down on your backs and spread your legs out. You're going to create what's kind of like an X with your body, your legs some distance apart, your arms some distance apart and overhead. So making this big X with your body, feel the ground beneath you. Feel how gravity hugs you onto the earth. And then from this stretched out position, reach out through the tips of your toes and your fingertips. And then we're going to roll onto our right sides. So start by bending your knees and tucking your arms in, and then roll onto your right side in a fetal position. And then come back into the X position through center and tuck onto your left. And come back through center and tuck to your right. And come back through center and tuck to your left. And come back through center and continue at the pace that feels best to you. You can take it slower or you can take it faster. Just continuing with stretching out and then tucking in, moving from side to side, feeling your relationship with the floor beneath you and with gravity, and starting to warm your body up. Stretching out and tucking in, getting a little side bending and twisting and all the little micro movements that happen through the joints as you move between these shapes. Now, what I invite you to do next is to use this impulse for movement and then make it just a little bit less predictable. So you might stretch one leg out and slide other arms around the floor. Right? You might lift one leg or one arm up toward the ceiling. And the invitation is to use your relationship with the floor, the impulse to move in a kind of spontaneous improvisational way. And we'll spend just a couple of minutes exploring this, maybe even rolling onto your abdomen. And this will eventually, within this 2-minute period, take you up to a standing position. So the idea is just simply to move around space in an improvisational way, which might be a lot of movement. It might be faster. It might be slower. It might be something familiar. Could even be, I'm just gonna, come onto hands and knees. I'm gonna get my feet underneath me, and then I'm gonna stand. You might hold a standing position for a while. The invitation is simply to allow yourself to explore. Explore the movement through your body. Noticing all of the movement capacity in your body itself. And allowing that kind of intuitive sense of your body in the way that it would like to move in this moment, bring you all the way to a standing position. So if you're not standing yet, take the next few seconds to get to a standing position. And we'll stand together, feet about outer hip width distance apart, and just start shifting weight from foot to foot. Really simple movement from side to side. And then invite your spine to become really soft, kind of like seaweed, and lag behind the movement. So it's kind of swaying from side to side and expressing the kind of a curvy, wavy, relaxed movement pattern from side to side, just allowing your head and spine to curve and lag behind the movement. And then from here, I want you to add your arms to this. So impulse, when you sway to one side, is to reach out with the arm in the direction that you're moving in and create some sort of wave-like motion with one arm at a time. Just expressing some waving, like seaweed moving with the waves. Almost as though the impulse to move from side to side is generated by something outside of you, and the rest of your body just submits, follows with ease. Okay, and then come back to a standing position and see if you can start to maybe express some waves and spirals by lifting one foot off the floor at a time. How might you express waves through your body by shifting your weight between your feet and how much your legs get involved? So same idea with moving your arms and moving your spine, but how might you come up with some interesting patterns by shifting weight from foot to foot? This can also, maybe let's try this together. What would it look like if it's moving more from forward to back? These waves, with your arms, with your torso, with legs. And especially focusing on this kind of snake-like motion of your spine, how the sacrum all the way down by your pelvis and your head kind of move and wave, and the rest of the spine follows. Just creating waves from forward to back with spine, the snake of your spine, with arms and with legs. And then switching directions, what might it look like if you create waves out to the side, which is similar to what we were doing earlier? What might happen in your pelvis? How might the pelvis moving generate some movement? How might the arms generate movement? What about the head? Maybe the shifting of weight, lifting one foot up is what generates the movement. Creating waves from side to side. And then think of diagonals. Think of directions that are less kind of front to back, side to side. Thinking of different directions that you can move these waves in. How might you express front, back, side, diagonals, diagonals down, diagonals up? It's creating waves through the system of your body, using all of your body parts and expressing waves. Now, keeping this impulse of movement, just these kind of waves rippling through to create this kind of freedom through movement in your body. You keep that going, but then start to kind of create circular motions with your arms, with your hands. It's using your upper limbs to now not only wave, but think of creating circles. It's kind of revolution. Almost as though, we'll keep with the imagery of the ocean, like you see how the ocean water comes into tide pools, and sometimes in some areas it spirals as it comes to rest. And then see if you can translate the spiraling action into your pelvis. Just moving in different directions. Maybe you could even just start making a big circle in one direction and see what ensues. And you could switch to the other direction. But then note like how you can do a half a circle in one direction and then continue the impulse in the other direction. You can lift one foot, one leg, or you can keep both feet planted. How do you express spirals in that area of your body? Good. Could you even express this kind of spiraling action with your knees, with your feet, with your lower legs? How might that look? Maybe it's tracing on the floor or rotating at your hips to express some circles with your knees. You could also make circles with both knees together. Just expressing this kind of spiraling action in your lower legs and seeing that translate up into the rest of your body. And now with this information, almost as though these layers are kind of collapsing on top of one another, making it perhaps more interesting, but a little bit harder to track, to generate. Imagine that these curves and spirals are kind of falling on top of each other, almost like ocean waves coming in. That there's the impulse of the spiral in one area, and then whew, the wave comes and takes you in another direction. Really just imagining almost as though these outside forces are moving you, creating the impulse, and allowing that to keep you in one place sometimes, but also you might take it around the space that you're in with the room that you have. Right. Curves and spirals with the inspiration of maybe the ocean waves moving you through waves, through all this expression. Nice. Okay. Now, make that smaller and smaller until these waves and spirals are almost imperceptible. You feel the impulse. It's a tiny impulse through waving through your spine, movement through your hips and pelvis, movement through your arms, almost as though you're available for all of that expressive movement, but it's contained within and kind of gives you this buoyancy and this ability to be here, available for movement, but not expressing it with a lot of big movement, just moving inside. And from here, keeping that spirit, stretch your legs out and stretch your arms out into the X shape that we started with, lying on our backs. So our next little movement exploration is going to be this idea of stretch. How can you express stretching through your body? So first thing that I'd like you to do is reach your left arm up and then reach your right arm up. And we'll just kind of move from side to side, stretching and stretching. Oof. Stretching one side, a little side bend, and stretching the arm up, and then you'll stretch the other arm up at some diagonal. Oof. And note how this feels. You're doing some side bending, moving the arms and torso. How does this feel different than curves and spirals? And feeling the stretch come through your chest, through your torso as well. Now start to maybe shift your weight from foot to foot, and maybe you'll even express some stretch through the whole side body, down through the legs. For a moment, let's take it really small. Just come into your hands and imagine some stretching of the fingers and moving through space. And creating the quality of stretch as you move your hands, spreading your fingers, and exploring this movement capacity. What does stretch feel like? This kind of expansive movement from your body out. And then let that translate into your arms. You're to keep it in your hands, but then translate it out and extend it into your arms, creating stretch. Oof. And feeling the stretch come into your chest, your torso. Oof. Feeling stretch come into your pelvis, your thighs, your legs. Maybe even thinking of your feet and toes expressing stretch, just like you did with your hands and fingers. Just gonna have some similarities to what we were doing with the curves and spirals, maybe similar motions even. But it's more that the impulse is generated from within, and this idea
of coming from your body and moving out, reaching to faraway spaces. How do you use movement to reach out, stretch? You might even spend some time moving very little in a particular stretch. Just noting what feels good, even stretch down toward the floor. In fact, let's all do that right now. To some degree, bending your knees as much as necessary. Stretch down toward the floor and keep on moving your pelvis. Both feet can remain on the floor, or you could lift one leg up and place your hands down and lift one arm up. Good. That exploring stretch in a forward bend now with as little effort as possible, almost just like someone's picking you back up. In a moment, we'll just come straight back up. So a little boop, come up, reach up. And then from here, express a little bit of what you might say is leaning back or back bending, which could even just be looking up toward the ceiling. How might we express stretching up, or maybe even back behind you slightly? Reaching up, maybe reaching back, and stretch. Okay. And then finding maybe more stretch to the side. So stretch down to one side. I'm starting on my left side, but you can start on another side and continuing with spirals, waves, the impulse of movement, but just allowing your torso to come down to one side. Feeling the movement ability you have in bending to one side. And then just like we did earlier, in a moment, we'll come up with ease as though someone's just lifting you right up, a little boop, come back up through center, keep moving through waves, keep the movement impulse happening in your body, and then tip your torso down the other way. Continuing the movement impulses that we generated at the beginning with waves, allowing your body to move freely and keeping it contained in one shape-ish, but noting how much movement capacity there is there. And then come up through center, whoop. And one more time each side, maybe a little bit faster. Tip your torso down to the first side, allowing movement to happen. Some waves, impulsive movement. And then in an instant, like you're being lifted up, come up, whoop, through center, continue to move, and then tip your torso down the other way. There we go, yep. And just allowing yourself to feel what movement is possible here, keeping your body available to movement, even with this little limitation of the side bending. And then in an instant being picked up and whoop, come back up through center. Okay. One more piece here, keep on moving, available to movement. You can make it a little bit smaller here. And then keeping your feet and legs pointing forward, continuing to generate free movement in your body by little waves. Turn your torso to your right. Look behind you, but try to keep your legs pointing forward. Create waves through your body, this movement impulse, and see if that helps you to turn a little bit further, look back a little further, even let your hips and pelvis go with you a little bit. Then keeping your torso and your hips moving in that direction, just look back toward the front. Look back toward your screen. Continuing to move, little movement impulses. And then finally, just like we did coming up from the side bending, as someone just lifted you up and brought you back forward, come back, whoop, through center. And then from here, twist your torso to your left, looking back over your left shoulder. Continuing to create those little movement impulses and see if with that little slight movement being available to free movement, you can turn a little bit further. Allowing your hips, your pelvis to go with you a little bit in that process. And keep your torso facing this direction. Look back forward. And then just as before, in an instant, boop, you're going to release it, come back up to center. Okay. Now, stop here for a moment and really flex your muscles. Whatever position you take it in is completely perfect. All right, so you might think muscle builder, or you might just think, wow. Try to flex and engage all of your muscles, grabbing your muscle to the bone, like you're completely blocking movement. And doing so much free movement. So, okay, stay here in a static shape. Now, from this static shape, from this grabbing your muscles toward the bone, I'm going to release it just a tiny bit and include some movement, but with a lot of muscular engagement. So it's like the movement moves through thick flesh, which more likely than not means that there's not as much big movement, or that big movements take longer to get there. Expressing curves and spirals with really thick flesh, muscle builder kind of flesh, really engaged. Engaging your buttocks, your core muscles, the muscles in your arms, triceps, biceps, even your calf muscles. You even feel and engage the muscles in your feet. Just exploring this thicker texture for a few moments longer. You could even take it traveling a little bit. What would it look like? Moving through your spine, the snake of your spine, your legs, your arms. Okay. Now, let go of the thickness in your texture and come back to moving freely without resistance, like ocean waves are moving your body through curves and spirals, as a way of knowing, like, yeah, we can create a lot of muscular engagement to create these motions, and that has a different quality and texture. And we can also be more free with it, and both are really useful. Both help us to know ourselves. Both are part of the adventure of being human. Okay, now start to march in place. Just lifting one foot and then the other. You can stick with this, or if you'd like a little bit more energetic output, you can start a little jog. And the jog can move forward and back, or can move to the side, can move at a diagonal. Just creating this movement pattern, maybe turning it around, and allowing it to move you through space. So notice the kind of rhythm, the cadence of this type of movement. We have our body mainly contained to this movement pattern. But because we have limited the movements, we actually can be a little bit faster and more precise. It almost feels rhythmic, percussive. So for just about 10 seconds, I'll invite you to speed up by letting go of muscular tension, speed up the pace of your feet moving, for just 10 seconds, any amount, speed up any amount. Start going a little bit faster by letting go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slow back down to a really easy natural pace that you do for a long time. And from this easy natural pace, allow that to bring you into some kind of sense of tap dancing. How might you express rhythm with your feet on the floor? How does the rest of your body respond? It's moving it through space. It's being expressive, allowing some of the curves and spirals to come in your upper body, maybe even in your legs, as you do this improvisational tap dancing. Okay. And finally, now bring your feet to relative stillness and then start to feel a shake begin in your hands. I'm just starting a little bit of a shaking motion, kind of like a buzzing sensation, a little zzz in your hands. Which feels like even faster rhythmically, maybe even there's a little bit of angularity or chaotic feeling to it. Just being open to the unpredictability and chaos of the shake. And then allowing that shake to carry up into your arms. Just moving in different directions, and arms can come up or stay by your sides. And then allowing the to translate into your upper chest. So moving hands, moving arms, moving upper chest, allowing your head to kind of be carried along with it, allowing the shake to move up to the degree that is safe for your head and neck, up into your head and neck, like it's riding on top. Allowing it to come down into your pelvis and your abdomen, maybe emphasizing it more there, almost as though this is the impulse that is creating the shake, the buzz throughout your body, your pelvis, lower abdomen, buttocks, and then bringing the shake into your upper legs, into your lower legs, into your feet even, either on the floor or lifting off the floor. And then either staying in one place or moving it around a little bit. See if you can maybe even express some of the curves and spirals along with the shake, combining those two textures, just to the degree that feels appropriate. Can you keep this element of shake even with moving your body in different ways? What would that feel like? And now with combining these two movement patterns or textures of shake with the curves and spirals, I invite you to amplify it just for 10 seconds. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now allowing the curves and spirals of shake to gently subside. Now come to a standing position, standing on the earth, and feeling the impulse of all of that movement, knowing that even as we stand in stillness, static shape, there's still all this percolating inside. How can we feel the echo and remember that we're available to all of that movement? And that being available to all that movement allows us to show up with freedom in our bodies rather than gripping and holding, right? Then blocking that freedom. So now grab your yoga mats and roll them out. Put some more structure to some more movement. Now that we are warmed up, now that we have a sense of the movement capacity in our bodies, yoga in general moves us through a lot of these movement patterns. We're asked to express curves and spirals in different ways. We're doing it through dynamic movement, and now we'll be doing it mainly through linking dynamic movement with static shapes. So come to stand tall at the top of your mat. The short edge of your mat, I should say. And stand tall in Tadasana, mountain pose. And we'll come through some sun salutation shapes. So to begin, sun salutation A, stretch your arms up over your head and reach up. On your exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step back to plank. Then inhale here deeply. Shift your shoulders forward slightly further. And either with knees down or knees lifted, lower all the way down to your abdomen. Point your feet, come up cobra, little back bend. And then exhale, come into downward facing dog. And breathe here. Notice what it's like to hold a shape called down dog, called Adho Mukha Svanasana. How might it feel different if you remember the availability to movement here? How much do you actually need to engage the muscular structures to hold this position with integrity? Which muscles want to grip that don't actually need to be engaged to hold this position? This is the inquiry that is helpful here, and that the dynamic movement can help us to ask. Take one more inhale here. On your exhale, bend your knees and walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. On your exhale, fold down over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. Exhale, lower your arms all the way down by your sides. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, stretch your arms up. And exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step back to plank. Inhale, shift forward slightly with your shoulders. Exhale, lower down, either with knees lowered or with knees lifted. Upward facing dog or cobra this time, your choice of back bend. And exhale to downward facing dog. And perhaps reflecting in down dog, not only on availability to movement and how that helps you to create just the right amount of muscular engagement, but also how sun salutations are just a much more contained version of what we were doing with the waves earlier. It's waving our bodies from front to back into forward bending and back bending shapes. Last breath here. Inhale deeply, look forward. On your exhale, bend your knees, walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up and reach up. And exhale, lower your arms all the way down by your sides. One more like this. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. This time around, step or hop back and lower down Chaturanga. Your choice. Upward facing dog or cobra. And to downward facing dog. And breathe. Again, available for movement, but holding this shape. Notice as well if you're holding in your neck and jaw. Might even move your head and neck a little bit in order to release some of that. Take one more inhale. On your exhale, bend your knees and walk or hop forward. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold down over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up. And exhale, lower your arms all the way down by your sides. Lunging salutation, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold down over your legs, bring your hands down to your mat or blocks. Step your left foot back, coming into a lunge. And bend your left knee, lower it down, point your left foot. Inhale, come up into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Good. Exhale, place your hands down, step back to plank. Either straight to down dog or again, Chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, let's take a couple breaths together. Available for movement, yet holding this shape. Inhale, lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your left foot all the way forward. Bend your right knee and lower it down. Point your right foot, come up, Anjaneyasana, second side. And exhale, place your hands down and step your right foot forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, come up partway. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up and reach up. And exhale, lower your arms all the way down by your sides. Stand tall. Let's get the second side. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Bring your hands to your mat or blocks. Step your right foot back, coming into a lunge. And bend your right knee, point your right foot. Inhale, come up into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhale, place your hands down onto your mat and step back to plank. You can come straight to down dog or Vinyasa, Chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, and to downward facing dog. And again, holding downward facing dog for a couple more breaths. Breathing, holding the static shape. And inhale, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your right foot up between your hands. Bend your left knee and lower it down. Point your left foot. And inhale, come up into Anjaneyasana. Exhale, place your hands down onto the floor and step your left foot forward. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold down over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up and reach up. And then exhale, lower your arms all the way down by your sides. Okay, sun salutation B. You can keep your feet hip width distance apart, or you can bring your feet and legs all the way together for Utkatasana. If you do have your feet hip width distance apart, do make sure your knees don't point in when you bend your knees. You want them to be pointing straight over your toes to protect your knees. So from one of those, bend your knees, stretch your arms up. If your feet are apart, check the alignment of your knees over your toes. You are reaching up and sit a little deeper. One more time, keep reaching up through your chest and torso. Sit a little bit deeper through your legs. Last inhale. On your exhale, straighten your legs and fold. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or hop back, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your right foot all the way between your hands. Spin your left heel in and down at a 45-degree angle. Come up into warrior one. We'll pause for breath here. Bend your right knee a little deeper. One more inhale, reach up. On your exhale, place your hands on the floor. Step back, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your left foot up between your hands. Spin your right heel in and down at a 45-degree angle and rise up. And we'll pause for a breath here. You root down through your feet, bend your left knee a little deeper. Inhale, reach up through your arms, through your chest. Exhale, place your hands on the floor, step back, and lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. And continue to breathe in this way. And keeping firm contact with your hands and feet, being muscular engagement through your arms and legs, but noting where you can let go a little bit of muscular tension. One more inhale. On your exhale, bend your knees, walk or hop forward. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold down over your legs, Uttanasana. Inhale, bend your knees, come up, Utkatasana. And exhale, stand tall, Tadasana. One more, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Pause here for a moment. If your feet are apart, check the alignment of your knees over your toes. Sit a little bit deeper. Inhale, reach a little higher. Exhale, straighten your legs and fold. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step or hop back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your right foot forward, spin your left heel in down and rise up, warrior one. And again, we'll pause for a breath here. We're down through your legs. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, step back and lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, place your left foot up between your hands, spin your right heel in and down and rise up, warrior one. And we'll pause for a breath. Root down through your feet. Inhale, reach up to your torso and arms. And exhale, step back, lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And continue breathing deeply. Noting, again, checking in with, especially how does your jaw and neck feel? Are they trying to get involved? Are they trying to hold your body in this position? If so, maybe move your jaw, move your head, your neck to release that. One more inhale. On your exhale, bend your knees, walk or hop forward. Inhale, come up partway. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, bend your knees and come up, Utkatasana. And exhale, stand. Put your arms down by your sides. Good. Then turn your body to face the long edge of your mat. And facing the long edges of our mats, we'll employ a different transition strategy, dynamic transition strategy, for some, what I consider really essential standing poses in yoga practice. There are two different transition options. So standing in Tadasana with your feet and legs together, if possible. You can also stand with your feet hip width distance apart, either one. Step your feet wide. Stretch your arms out from your shoulders, and your feet should be approximately wrist distance apart. So just check, gauge, make any adjustments needed, mark that spot in your mind, and then step your feet back in, standing at the center of your mat. So transition option one, step out and step back in. Option two, hop out and hop back in. So if you'd like to try that, you'll do that this time. If stepping sounds like a better option, do that. So you'll step or hop out. And then you'll step or hop in. Arms down, feet together. Let's do that a couple more times together. Step or hop out. And step or hop in. And step or hop out. And step or hop in. Okay, bend your knees, step or hop out. Make any adjustments needed. First pose is Virabhadrasana 2. Turn your right toes out, 90 degrees. Strengthen your legs and then bend your right knee. Look out over your right fingertips. The right knee should point over your toes just like in Utkatasana, so you might peek and check to make sure that's happening. And then just generally keep creating the engagement necessary, that kind of thickness of your flesh, the hugging of the muscle to the bone to hold the shape. And then maybe question, like consider, what in my torso, my face, my neck can release? And then straighten your right leg, turn your right toes forward, we'll go to the second side, turn your left toes out 90 degrees, strengthen your legs, and bend your left knee. Coming into Virabhadrasana 2 on the second side. Checking in to make sure that your left knee is pointing over your toes. Also keeping a lot of muscular engagement through the legs, hugging muscle to the bone. But also noticing that your torso can be more free. Right? You don't have to create so much engagement through your shoulders, enough to keep your arms up. But how much is that? Couple more breaths. Then straighten your left leg, turn your left toes forward, and bend your knees, step or hop in. Bend your knees, step or hop out. Parsva Konasana, side angle pose, turn your right toes out, 90 degrees, bend your right knee. Inhale here. On your exhale, tip your torso to your right and bring your right forearm to your thigh. And then swoop your left arm close to the left side of your face. So it's like in line with this right side, so the left side of your torso. You can stay here with your forearm on your thigh, or place your right hand down to the floor, outer edge of your right foot, or down to a block if you have blocks handy. Peek up and breathe. Again, now noticing what needs to be engaged to hold this pose with integrity. There's more weight over the front leg, so can you create a little bit more thickness in the muscular engagement to help to support that weight. And inhale, come back up into warrior 2. Straighten your right leg and turn your right toes forward. Turn your left toes out 90 degrees. Bend your left knee. And from warrior 2, tip your torso to your left, bring your left forearm to your thigh, swoop your right arm close to the right side of your face. So that your top arm, your right arm, is merely an extension of your right leg and the right side of your torso, expressing a diagonal angle. You can keep your left forearm on your thigh or place your hand down on the floor or on a block, outer edge of your left foot. Maybe peek up underneath your arm, if that feels okay on your neck. Noticing what engagement needs to happen here to feel really stable in this shape. More muscular engagement is needed in the front leg because you have more weight moving over it. So can you create a little bit more engagement, a little more thickness, especially in the upper left leg? Inhale, come back up to warrior 2 and straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes forward. Bend your knees, step or hop your feet back in. And stand tall. Okay, Trikonasana is our next shape. Bend your knees, step or hop wide. Turn your right toes out about 90 degrees. This time, keep your legs straight and strong, and then tip your torso to your right. You can either gently, very gently rest your right hand on your shin, right? Don't push. This is bad for your knee. Just lightly touch, and then stretch your left arm up. Possible, place your hand down to a block or to the floor, outer edge of your shin. Keep turning your chest up, and maybe look up. So again, noticing the muscular engagement that needs to happen to hold this pose really firmly, really securely, but without tensing, without gripping, especially in areas that don't need to get involved, like the head and neck, like the tongue. And then from here, keep your legs really strong, lift your torso all the way upright. And turn your right toes forward. Turn your left toes out 90 degrees. Keep both legs really straight and strong. And then tip your torso to your left. Gently rest your hands on your shin. Right? Do not push. This is bad for your knee. You just kind of like lightly touch. And stretch your right arm up. You can stay there or bring your hand down onto something, meaning the block or the floor. Maybe look up. And keeping your legs really strong, engaged. And continuing to breathe evenly. Okay. Strengthen your legs a lot and then lift your torso all the way up. Turn your left toes forward. Bend your knees and step or hop your feet all the way back together and stand tall. All right. So just a couple more poses, standing poses in this direction. For this one, you'll either keep your hands on your hips or clasp opposite elbows like so. Third option, you can bring your hands into what's called Paschima Namaskar behind your back. But any of those are going to serve the purposes for our next shape. So bring your arms into one of those three positions. I'm going to clasp opposite elbows to show you what that looks like. Bend your knees and step or hop your feet wide. Now, from where you've been stepping or hopping your feet, bring your feet in a little bit. So maybe just a half an inch on each side. Then we'll start by turning the back foot in this shape. Turn your left foot in really strongly. Even turn the ball of your left foot in, lift your heel, and then scooch it back. So you're turning in a lot. Then turn your right foot out 90 degrees. So your toes point toward the short edge of your mat. Turn your hips and torso to face your right leg. So we're facing the short edge of the mat on one side. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. On your exhale, come down until your torso is just about parallel to the floor. And we'll stay right here for a couple breaths, keeping the engagement of the muscles of your legs. If your abdomen is close to your right thigh and your legs are straight, then you can fold down further, rounding just your upper back to draw your face down toward your shin. And take one or two more breaths here. Inhale, look forward, lengthen through your spine. On strong legs, come all the way up with a straight spine and turn back to center. Now, if you're clasping opposite elbows, you might switch the clasp, which is what I'm going to do. And then turn your right foot in really strongly. Turn the ball of your foot in and slide your heel back to turn in a lot. And then turn your left foot out 90 degrees, pointing toes toward the short edge of your mat. Turn your hips and torso to face your left leg. Then inhale here. Exhale, bring your torso down until it's parallel to the floor. My allergies are acting up, as you can probably hear. All right, so if your torso is close to your left thigh, you can come down further safely. You round your upper back and draw your face down towards your shin. And take a few breaths here. Breathing, holding, creating enough muscular engagement to hold this shape, to hold balance. And inhale, lengthen through your spine, come up. And with a straight spine, lift all the way up. And turn all 10 toes back forward. Release the clasp of your arms, maybe even shake it out. And then step or hop your feet back in. Okay, we have one more shape that we'll go after today. And this is a wide-legged forward bend called Prasarita Padottanasana. Step or hop your feet wide. And make sure that your feet are maybe even a little wider than what we've been doing for most of the poses. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale here, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips and place your hands on the floor on blocks directly underneath your shoulders. Keep lengthening through your spine and stretching your head, your chest forward. This is actually the first movement in Prasarita Padottanasana. We often skip over it. There's a lot of benefit to hanging out here for a little bit. Try to create a lot of length and space in your low back. And try to keep that length and space in your low back as you perhaps explore folding down further. You want most of the rounding to happen in your upper back. So you walk your hands back, round upper back to bring crown of your head down. Down to or toward the floor, and you'll take some more deep, steady breaths here. I'll tell you when to make your way back up. Okay, to come back up, start by straightening your arms, lift your torso, strengthen your legs, place your hands to your hips. With a straight spine, lift your torso all the way up. And because your feet are a little wider, you might heel toe in a little bit before you step or hop your feet back in. Oof, and stand tall. Yeah, okay. Turn and face the short edge of your mat one more time. We'll bring it home with the kind of asana portion of this class, the yoga portion of this class with a little creative flow, and then we'll do some relaxation. So facing the short edge of your mat, stand tall. And then shift your weight to your left leg. In fact, I'm going to come this way so you can see me a little better. Shift your weight to your left leg. Stretch your right arm back and then kick your right foot into your right hand. Just a little quad stretch action. Now, stretch your left arm forward. Lengthen your tailbone down. I'm just going to do a little kickback. Little tiny kickback, keeping your torso upright. So think baby dancer pose. Now, if this is feeling totally manageable and you want to take this a little further, you can come a little bit deeper into Natarajasana or dancer pose, lowering torso down a little bit. And depending on your space, like as you can see, I can't extend my arm fully in this direction, but I'm using my bookshelf in order to hold the shape, which is kind of nice. Okay, and then come back up to center. Whew. And lower your right foot down and stand tall. And from here, inhale, stretch your arms up and reach up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, step or hop back, lower down Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling. On your exhale, place your right foot all the way between your hands and then come up into a warrior two shape, turn open to the side. Yeah, good. Inhale here and exhale, keep the shape of your legs, tip your torso toward the back leg, reverse warrior. Lightly rest your left hand and stretch your right arm close to your face. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, side angle pose, Parsva Konasana, forearm to thigh, hand down to the floor or a block. Stretch your left arm close to your face. And inhale, come back up through warrior two. Straighten your right leg and Trikonasana, tip your torso to your right. Hand down to rest on shin or down to floor or block. Look up. And look down towards your right foot, bend your right knee. Walk your hand forward, come forward and up into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Fingertips can be on the floor or up on a block. And find your balance here. You can keep your top leg, left leg straight, or express a little quad stretch or dancer action in the top leg. Bend your left knee, reach your left hand, clasp the outer edge of your left foot, and then kick back, just like you did in standing dancer pose a moment ago. It's called Ardha Chandra Chapasana. And then slowly release the clasp on your foot and stretch it back. Bring your left hand down to the floor, square your hips toward the floor. Bend your right knee, bring the ball of your left foot down, coming into a lunge. Yeah, from the lunge, strengthen your legs and come up into a high lunge. There we are. Yeah, good. Now, with strong legs, just simply bring your left hand down and stretch your right arm up for a twisted lunge shape. Really good. And then from here, press down through your left hand. And a couple of options. Stay here, option 1. Option 2, come into a side plank variation that I'll talk you through. Option 3, come into full side plank. So for the variation, spin to the outer edge of your left foot and then slide your right foot until it's just about in front of your left knee and plant the sole of your foot on the floor and reach up. You can stay here or you can stack your feet for the full form of Vashisthasana. And bring your right hand down to the floor, step back into plank, and then lower down, Chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. And one more breath. Last inhale here, just a short down dog hold this time. On your exhale, bend your knees, walk or hop forward. Inhale, come up part way, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, lower your arms down. And we'll do the second side. Shift your weight to your right leg this time. Bring your left arm behind you. Kick your left foot into your left hand. Stretch your right arm forward. Lengthen your buttocks down. Lift your low belly in and up. And keep your torso upright and just kick back a little into your hand. So we're moving toward Natarajasana, but not quite going there yet. Now this baby form of dancer pose, you might stay right here and just be really stable here. If you want to take it a little further, you might lower your torso a little, kick back and up more. It's coming a little deeper into this shape. Keep kicking into your left hand as you come back up. Good. And then lower your left foot down and stand tall. Inhale, reach your arms up, stretch up. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Inhale, come up partway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or hop back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Then inhale, lift your left leg up toward the ceiling. Exhale, place your left foot up between your hands and come up into Warrior Two. And pause here in this familiar shape. Already been here. Inhale deeply. Exhale, tip your torso toward your back leg and come into reverse warrior. Good, good. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, side angle pose. Either bring your forearm to your thigh, place your hand down to the floor, outer edge of your foot, or to a block. Stretch your right arm close to the right side of your face and reach out. Inhale, come back up through Warrior Two, straighten your left leg, and then come into triangle pose. Tip your torso to your left. Either lightly rest hand on shin or hand to the floor or block. And maybe look up. And look down toward your left foot, bend your left knee, come forward and up into Ardha Chandrasana. You can grab a block and place it underneath your left hand. It might be helpful if this pose is challenging, which yeah, it is a challenging pose. It still is for me. Either stay here or add the little quad stretch with the top leg, bend your right knee, reach back, clasp to the outer edge of your right foot, and then maybe kick back just a little bit. Like the baby dancer pose. Not coming into a deep back bend, but just kicking back a little. Ardha Chandra Chapasana. And if you took that second variation, release the clasp, stretch your right leg straight, bring your right fingertips down to the floor and square your hips toward the floor, bend your left knee, and then come into a lunge. Bring the ball of your right foot down. Strengthen the muscles of your legs and then lift your torso up. High lunge. Keep your legs strong and float your right hand down to your mat and stretch your left arm up. Low twisted lunge. So option one is just hang out here for a while. Option two will come into variation of side plank. Option three, come into the full form of Vashisthasana or side plank. I'll talk you through the variation. You'll start by spinning to the outer edge of your right foot and you'll slide your left foot so it's just in front of your right knee. Press the sole of your foot down, press down through your right hand, stretch up through your left arm. Yep. Nice work. Okay. And from where you are, bring your left hand down and step back into plank. Either straight to down dog or vinyasa, the downward facing dog. Last time. And one more breath. This time, different exit. Walk your hands back to your feet. Come into a standing forward bend. At the back of your mat, place your hands on your hips, lengthen through your spine, and stand all the way up. Great. So just as we had the invitation at the beginning of class to come from lying down on the floor in a kind of improvisational way all the way back down, there's an improvisational way to stand up. We'll do the same thing in reverse now. So maybe including some of the movements that we did earlier with the waves and spirals, maybe shaking, buzzing. The idea is just to note what movement patterns want to come through your body before you come down into a resting shape. So for example, you could shake a little, and then you could wave a little, and then you choose how you come down to the floor. Might be more of a held stretch. Might be standing forward bend. Up to you. And eventually coming closer to the floor and closer to the floor. And then knowing that the aim now is to relax for the last 10 minutes of class. So that you'll come into a really relaxing position and allow yourself to be. So any last movement impulses, any last stretches, and then get real comfortable. Yeah, looks good, everyone. Settling in. Calming your breath. Perhaps even placing more emphasis on your exhale.
sending the signal to your body that it's time to rest. That we've done the activity, and what is needed now is actually to let all of that work seep in, to pause, so that all that was percolating settle. And from this place of settling, scan through your body and see if you can even relax 5 to 10% more. What are you still holding on to? Perhaps calling in some intention. What brings you meaning? What's important to you? And this might be a particular place, person, a thing, an activity. Just taking a moment to connect with what gives life meaning. And maybe even intending to connect with that thing, that person in some way, that activity in some way at some point today or this week. Begin to, again, settle your attention on your body, and in noticing your body, find a place that feels either pleasant or neutral. Could be as small an area as the tip of one finger. Or could be an entire leg. And if it's hard to find an area in your body today, every day is different. Maybe you find something outside of yourself, maybe a favorite place in nature that feels pleasant or neutral. And either this place in your body or this something external will serve as a resource that you can visit anytime you need a timeout. Anytime you need some sanctuary or need to rest from the practice that we'll be going through. Just know that it's there and could be visited at any point in time. And now we'll begin to move through the different regions of the body systematically. Starting with noticing sensations that are arising in the jaw. The inside of the mouth. The tongue, the throat. Noticing your inner ears, middle ears, and outer ears. Opening to sensations in your nostrils and behind your nostrils. Noticing your eyes and all the space around both eyes. Sensations in the crown of the head, the back of the head, and your neck. Invite you to open up to sensations in the shoulders, upper arms, forearms, hands and fingers. Drawing awareness back up to the upper back and upper chest. Space beneath the sternum and the mid-back. Your lower abdomen and low back. Just noticing sensation. Draw awareness into your pelvic region, into your hips, upper legs, lower legs, feet and toes. And opening up to feel your entire body as an open, vibrant field of sensation. Being here with your whole body at the same time. Open up to one thing that brings you happiness or joy. Might be connected to your resource that you identified. Might also be connected to your intention. Or it might be something completely different. Ask yourself, what brings me joy? Connect with that and let it expand, take shape. And reside here as you open up to the sound of harmonium and my voice. Changing my life. Changing my life. Changing my life. Slowly begin to feel awareness come back into your body, come back to the surface. If it's helpful, you can introduce movement into your body as this happens, or you can stay still. And taking your time and in whatever manner feels best to you in this moment, make your way back to a seated position. Join your palms together at the center of your chest. And we'll end by offering a blessing, acknowledging our interconnections through chanting the seed mantra Om, and by offering peace, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can listen to my voice in the chant, or you can join in with me. And we'll begin now. Inhale deeply. Exhale, empty out completely. And inhale for the chant. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all so much for the gift of your good company. Mm.